Well, hi and welcome to my beautiful office. I've had the R6 for 3 weeks now. I've rattled off 5,000 images in that time, so I have a good understanding how this focusing system works in all types of lighting conditions. So full sun, no clouds, we get those deep dark shadows, to more diffused days where it's sort of fairly heavily clouded but high, with sort of reasonable light coming through, diffused, to even better diffused light by having thin clouds, lots of light streaming through. But what I've discovered about the R6 is it has given me lots better result than I've ever had in the past. The 7D Mark II and the 5D Mark II, they couldn't give me what I wanted, and that is no blackout, animal eye detect that would stick on my subject while I'm trying to take action shots of it while it bounds like a possum and jumps in the air and try and capture that. So that is my passion, the agile anti-kindness. Pretty well much what I bought this camera for, that it would give me action shots. Alright, so my results so far is it's all about light, and it's the same with any camera. You need good light for the focusing system to work properly and to give you that perfect image. Now, we get good images from this system in poor lighting, but it's no substitute for good light, that is for sure. But we'll cover all those sort of things as we go along, but we'll stay on focus. Alright, so in that harsh full sunlight, I haven't been able to get the eye detect to stay on the subject. It's coming in and out of reasonable light to harsh light to then shadows. And as my subject starts to move, the animal eye detect stays on it, but once it starts moving properly, it tends to drop off. And it's all because we need that good light. I've brought my studio light into effect for all these different conditions to help out, given the image a better lighting, but it hasn't helped out the focusing system still. So even though I get that beautiful diffused light as well, I've had one day of that where it was just the perfect light. The focusing system still couldn't hang on to the eye detect. Now, my subject is pretty small, the size of a mouse, so I can understand it not being perfect, but even in that good sort of diffused light, it still struggled a little bit to stay on it. So that as it goes to run, jump in the air, I've lost it for a bit with the focusing. Once it hits the ground and I keep following it, it catches up once it stops. So I need to be in full sunlight for this system to work properly. There's no doubt about it. Direct full sunlight right over the whole scene, then I'll get that perfect lighting. Right, so I had one person, a viewer on my YouTube channel, contact me about he's been overexposing and finding that the focusing system works better in lower light. Well, I've tried it and I can tell you, no, it doesn't. It's not making any difference at all. Now, we're talking about the cases in the camera. I have experimented up and down, all over the place, tweaking here and there, but nothing's making it stick to my subject. And I keep coming back to auto. It seems to work slightly better than the others, so a bit more of an intelligent system rather than the individual cases. That is what I've found in my forest environment that I have here. It's not the lens, because it works beautifully That's the 70 to 300mm EF lens with the adapter on. I think it's flawless, but maybe at the 100 to 500, which is what I'd really love to have, RF lens might improve things a lot more. I can't tell yet until I have one on. So that's where I'm at with the focusing system at the minute. I'm not getting what I was hoping for, but I'm still getting some fantastic poses that I wouldn't have been able to get, which I haven't been able to get with the 7D Mark II. Because my subject never sits still, it's always twitching around the place. By the time I hit that shutter button, it's moved. That's just how quick they are. And I've missed out on some really beautiful poses that I love to have. Now I'm getting them, because we have that 20 frames per second, so it's hardly moving as it takes an image. So I'm not taking massive bursts of 20, I'm just taking little ones of up to 5, 6, maybe 10 sometimes. When it does start to jump and all that, I might rattle off a little bit more, but I can feel it in my hand. Certain vibration there that just gives me an idea, a guesstimation of how many I've taken. Now I've also been playing around with the cropping mode in this camera. So we get that 1.6 factor crop, turning my 300mm lens into a bit over a 500mm lens, which is pretty much what I'm used to from the 7D Mark II with my full frame lens on it. And I have to say, I really like what I'm seeing. Pixel peeping, good quality. The image isn't quite as detailed as the full frame, of course. So if we take a full frame image and we crop in post, make a subject bigger in the frame, we've just done the same thing as going into crop mode. So it's just a matter of framing up properly. Hopefully we don't have to crop out anything. If we do, it's going to have to be a slight amount. So for me at the minute, not having a lot of reach with this 300mm lens, it's coming in handy, giving me beautiful images, usable, sellable images. Now talking about the image quality in this environment that I'm shooting in at the minute, this tough lighting conditions that I have. 4000 ISO is as high as I prefer to go. I can go higher, but I'm having a little bit of issue with lost colour information on the fur of my subject. So the Agile's fur goes light grey. Now I'm shooting in RAW, so I can tweak it in post with a little bit of white balance changing. So I'll go into a Kelvin temperature and just bring it up a little bit because it tends to be a bit cold. So it needs a little bit of work in post. An interesting one, the higher the ISO, the lighter that grey goes and the harder it is to bring some sort of proper colour back into that fur. My version of Photoshop can't see the raw files, unfortunately. So I have to change it to a JPEG. So get it reasonably looking in Canon's Digital Professional, which I don't mind using anyway. It's a pretty good program, and normally if you get things right in camera you don't have to do any tweaking in Photoshop anyway. But I do use that a lot, and that also has a software in it built in that you can't turn off, and that's noise reduction. And for the R6's version of that, the new update, works a hell of a lot better than it did with the 7D Mark II, because if you've got a little bit of noise there, it would start to make my subject look a little pencil-y looking, especially the Agile. But with the new version, it's a lot better. It's a nicer image. It does a really good job. Now there's something else that I'm seeing with the image that I really like, and it used to be a little bit of an issue with the 5D Mark II and the 7D Mark II, and that's the Agile's fur, the tips of the fur that don't have any colour on it. They're pretty much clear for the most part, and with the 7D Mark II and the 5D Mark II, they would have an aliasing effect on them, so it didn't look pleasing at all. It looked horrible. And there's so many images I've had to throw away of nice poses, action shots. Yeah, it just ruined them, and I couldn't find a way to fix them up. So you have the colour of the rainbow in there when you pixel peak right in 200%. So with the R6, they're clean. They look bright and white, which is how they should look. So it's awesome that the R6 has fixed up that problem. It senses much better and can give a better true representation of what the fur should look like. So it's just been bloody awesome with that. I use a flash, I'd get that horrible aliasing look. I get into full sunlight, you get exactly the same. So it's the sensor that was the problem. The R6 proved it. Trying to get action shots of the Agile being so small doesn't help the focusing system finding its eye quickly. Poor lighting condition definitely doesn't help that at all. And also my subject, extreme acceleration. It goes from just being sitting there to jumping in the air very, very quickly. So that's a struggle for any focusing system as well. The R6 is definitely making it a lot better, but yeah, it's tough, really tough. In my opinion on the focusing system is you have to have back button focusing. Now everybody's talking about having two, and that is definitely what you have to do, especially in a forest environment. I'm using the smallest focusing point on the AF button so that my subject will get locked onto quickly. Most of the subjects, like the Agile, birds, they're small, and if it's a bird, the branch that it's on will be thin maybe as well. So if we have a bigger focus point, they don't tend to lock on as quickly. So a smaller one, no worries, it'll grab it. And the star button I have assigned to eye detect, of course. So what happens is the Agile starts to come along, I hit it with the AF button, get that small focus point on it, and then I quickly flick over to eye detect. The eye detect picks it up a lot quicker. If you don't do that, then it runs around all over the place, and then by the time your Agile starts moving, it's sort of going, oh shit, oh is that what you want? And then it's too late as well. Now the thing that sort of annoys me a little bit is I can't split these two any more than I already have, because I'd like the eye detect to be in a zone rather than the whole entire focusing area, the whole screen taken up. I'd rather it be in a zone, be in a smaller area, so it'll pick it up quicker, understand things a bit better. You can't do that without changing both, so I'll lose my small focus point. So that's something be nice to have changed, being able to control both really separately and have them tuned to the way you like. Oh, now when we're shooting in mechanical mode, so using it as a DSLR, and we get 12 frames per second, I can use that with the Agile to get the action shots. But the problem is that we still have a noisy shutter. It's half as loud as what the 7D Mark II is, so it's the quietest shutter I've ever heard. But we're still getting that noise. You know, some of the Agiles get a bit nervous around that, any sort of noises going on, so it's better if I don't have that, and that's why I've been going to the electronic shutter and having it mirrorless, so it's dead silent. But getting back to having it in mechanical mode, when we're viewing through the viewfinder, we can change modes in there. So there's one that uses more power, and it's called smooth, and blackout. That's always been an issue for me, but when we change it to smooth, we get one blackout. So we take the first image, and in between the second one coming up, we get that blackout, and then from there on in, the gaps are tiny and hardly noticeable. Certainly highly useful for keeping your subject in frame properly. So yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, just the noise, and that's why I'm sticking with the electronic shutter so that we get that silent mode. Right, I'd like to thank everybody that's donated to my documentary so far with Buy Me a Coffee. It's been awesome. I have 3 new people to put on the honours board, so thank you very much, you guys, from the bottom of my heart, to everybody that's donated so far. Been amazing, from small donations to quite large ones. Managed to raise $330 so far. It's awesome. I'm very humbled. It's just awesome that you guys believe in me enough that I will make sure that this documentary is beautiful. It'd be great if I could still keep going. If I could raise $1,000 with this, would be just awesome. It means I'll be able to get someone to do some music, tailor-made music for this documentary. I have someone in mind, and he possibly could be quite expensive. If you'd like to be part of this documentary, that would be awesome. There'll be a link in the description part of this video, so down below there'll be a link there, so just click on it and it'll take you to my coffee, and you'll be able to see some more information there. You can buy me 1 coffee, 2 coffees, 3 coffees, 100 coffees if you like. Whatever you think you can afford, it would be just awesome. Yeah, and I'll also leave a link at the end of this video, so there'll be a link to a video just here explaining everything about what I've just discussed then, about Buy Me a Coffee, about the documentary itself. As far as the documentary goes, there'll be a video coming up next week maybe. Yeah, just giving you an update on where I'm at the minute with how it's going. And speaking of videos, I'm working so hard on scripts at the minute for my documentary. It's getting harder and harder to make YouTube videos, but I'll continue to try and put one out every now and then. So hang in there, you'll get one every now and then. But that's it for me for today. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel and get more of this amazing stuff, click on my pretty little face to stand in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Hit the little bell, you'll get notification whenever I do anything else. And if you like this video, it would be awesome if you could just click like, give me the thumbs up, help my channel grow. Now if you'd like to go and have a look at all the amazing and crazy things I've been doing over the years, click on my icon right here at the end of this video. Take you to my channel. There's over 100 videos to choose from. I talk about cameras, give you my honest opinion on the things that I buy, even accessories for cameras. And I talk about photographing, filming in a forest environment, give you lots of tips there. I've done some other mad and crazy things, and I also take you on adventures. So go and have a browse. Be something there of interest to you, I am sure. Now, keep away from that coronavirus stuff, stay safe. And if you don't do, you don't get. So get out there and start photographing and filming wildlife. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.